So in this section, we're going to talk about resource groups. Now, resource groups are one of those foundational elements of the Azure Resource Management Model, ARM, and they're basically an organizational structure. So you can create as many resource groups pretty much as you need. And inside the resource group is the resources that you create. So you'll see in my AZ-100 resource group, as I create a virtual machine, all of the related disks, network interface cards, the storage account for diagnostics, public IP address, the network security group, the virtual network, they're all, 7 different resources. They're all inside the same resource group. Now, as we've already seen so far, there are many different benefits to having things in a resource group. You can do, we're going to talk about policies in a second. We're going to talk about locks, being able to deployments happen at the resource group level, so we can then generate the scripts, the templates required to recreate this resource group off of the resource group level. We can do reporting, so in terms of the costs of a resource group is very easy to pull out. So resource groups are basically that type of organizational structure. So why don't we just create a new one here? So I'm going to go add, and I'm going to call it, AZSJD new. Now the resource group name does have to be unique to your account, and so you cannot create 2 resource groups with the same name, even if they're in different regions. Okay. So you'll see this has allowed me to do it, and then I say create. And it's pretty instantaneous that it's created me a resource group. Now, there are no resources in this group, and it doesn't cost me anything, so I can have this resource group sticking around, and it really doesn't harm me in any way. I can choose to add resources directly from that resource group level, although it's probably more common to add it from this plus sign here or from the marketplace. But we can add resources. One of the convenient things about resource group is if you do get into creating lots and lots of resources, that you can delete the resource group, and that will also clean up all of the resources inside of it. So when you're doing a lot of testing, keeping your resources into a single resource group makes it very easy at the end of the day to delete it and then realize that you're not going to get charged from it. Okay. Deleting the resource group is pretty straightforward. You actually have to type the name of the resource group into a text box in order for that delete to take effect. I'm going to go back to my other resource group. Now let's talk about 2 elements. The one is locks. Now the concept of locks is basically allowing you to place a lock on the resources inside a resource group so that you don't accidentally make changes to it or you don't accidentally delete it. You can also do this on a, basically to prevent accidents. Okay, so if you've got this resource like AZ-100 resource group, I want to add a lock and I want to say no changes. And there are 2 types of locks. One restricts deletions and one restricts any changes. So if I put a read-only lock onto this resource group and I'll say no changes, please. Play save. Now I'm basically restricting the contents of this resource group from changing. So let's show how that takes effect. If I was to try to add a new resource, and let's just say I want to add a web app resource, click create, you'll see that there is this red exclamation point next to the resource group. It says the selected resource group is read only. So I can't even create resources in the existing resource group because the resource group is locked. Similarly, if I was to try to change something, so let's say I go into one of my virtual machines and then I want to stop that virtual machine. It says, are you sure? I say yes. You'll see that I'm getting an alert saying that please remove the lock and try again. So I can't even stop the virtual machine, let alone delete it or basically make any changes to it without the lock on the resource group being removed. Okay. Now, just like anything, locks are role-based access control, and so you can control who has access to removing the lock. Now, there's also this subscription level view of locks. So when I go look at this subscription level view, I can see which locks I have, and my no changes please lock is viewable at that top level.